Warnung. Das folgende Programm enthält störende historische Ereignisse und Grafiken. Die folgende Sendung enthält Szenen, die sittliches Empfinden verletzen können. Warning. The following program contains disturbing historical events and graphic images. Viewer discretion is advised. On April 20th, 1889, a man was born in the town of Braunau am Inn, Austria-Hungary. That man came to be known as Adolf Hitler. When he was 3, he moved from his hometown in Austria-Hungary to Germany. As a child, he had an interest in becoming an artist. He also became obsessed with German nationalist ideas, despising the declining House of Habsburg. However, when his younger brother died in 1900, he became increasingly detached. After his father's death, his mother permitted him to drop out of school. He moved to Vienna, Austria in 1905, where he spent his time laboring and painting. He attempted to enroll in a fine arts academy. However, he was denied. When his mother sadly passed away, he was impoverished and had to stay in homeless shelters, at least for a while. He allegedly stated that his stay in Vienna was what inspired his anti-Semitic beliefs. At the start of World War I, Hitler served as a corporal in the German military. He was present in several major battles. He was wounded at the Battle of the Somme. He received numerous awards for bravery. However, Hitler became resentful due to Germany's defeat in World War I and the Treaty of Versailles, which ended German imperialism. After World War I, Hitler moved to Munich, where he met with the chairman of the German Workers' Party and to Drexel. Hitler was inspired by many of the anti-Semitic, nationalist, and anti-communist beliefs, so the German Workers' Party invited him in 1919. The party soon renamed themselves the National Socialist German Workers' Party, or the Nazi Party. Hitler designed a banner for the party, which is comprised of a black swastika enclosed by a white circle surrounded by a red background. Hitler started to become infamous for his malicious beer hall speeches in which he condemns the Treaty of Versailles, political dissidents, communists, and Jews. On November 8, 1923, Hitler staged a coup at a large beer hall known as the Burger Braukeller. Known as the Beer Hall Putsch, it was inspired by Benito Mussolini's March on Rome. Hitler stated in the speech, "You can see that what motivates us is neither self-conceit or self-interest, but only a burning desire to join the battle in this grave 11th hour for our German fatherland. One last thing I can tell you. Either the German Revolution begins tonight, or we will all be dead by dawn." Around 2,000 men marched to the streets before encountering authorities. The coup attempt resulted in 20 deaths. Hitler himself was wounded during the revolt. Several days later, Hitler was arrested and sentenced to a year in prison. After his imprisonment, he started writing the first volume of his autobiography, Mein Kampf, in which he outlines his political views and plans for Germany. In 1932, Hitler ran against the incumbent president of Germany, Paul von Hindenburg. During the 1932 presidential elections, he came in second, following Hindenburg, earning him only 35% of the popular vote. Hindenburg reluctantly appointed Hitler as chancellor on January 30th, 1933. After the Reichstag was burned on February 27, 1933, Hitler passed the Reichstag fire decree the following day, which eroded away civil liberties and allowed indefinite detention without trial. On March 23, 1933, the Enabling Act was passed, which gave the cabinet full legislative power for 4 years unless renewed by the Reichstag, and gave him the right to pass unconstitutional laws. Having seized control of the legislative and executive branches of government, Hitler outlawed all opposing parties. This effectively made the Nazi Party the only legally recognized party in Germany and was now considered a de facto legal dictatorship. The day prior to Hindenburg's death, the cabinet passed a new law known as the Law Concerning the Highest State Office of the Reich, which stated that when Hindenburg dies, the presidential office will be abolished and merged with the position of chancellor, making Hitler the head of state. This gave him the title Fuehrer und Reichskanzler, which translates as leader and chancellor of the empire. Social reform was common. Due to some concerning health issues, Hitler announced anti-tobacco campaigns throughout Germany. He also formed the Protestant church system, which was used to indoctrinate its followers about the Nazi regime. The Nazi regime's main ideology was the idea that the Aryan and Nordic races were the master race, and that Jews, Gypsies, Slavic peoples, and other undesirables were deemed Untermenschen, which means that they were innately inferior to the Übermenschen, or master race. Throughout Nazi Germany's history, there was widespread persecution of Jews. On September 15, 1935, the Nazi Reichstag introduced the Nuremberg racial purity laws, anti-Semitic laws which took away German citizenship from Jews and prohibited Jews from marrying Aryans. On March 12, 1938, Hitler announced the Anschluss, the annexation of Austria. On September 30, 1938, Hitler, along with Neville Chamberlain, Edouard Daladier, and Benito Mussolini, signed the infamous Munich Agreement. This agreement allowed Nazi Germany to annex the Sudetenland regions of Czechoslovakia. After the summit, he was featured on Time magazine's Man of the Year for 1938. Chamberlain was satisfied, ironically stating that it would be peace for our time. However, on March 15, 1939, in violation of the Munich Agreement, Hitler ordered the Wehrmacht, the armed forces of Nazi Germany, to occupy Western Czechoslovakia. On September 1st, 1939, Nazi Germany invaded Western Poland, starting World War II. The Nazis committed horrendous atrocities during the campaign, such as massacring tens of thousands of Polish men, women, and children. All in all, the German invasion of Western Poland resulted in 150,000 to 200,000 Polish civilian losses. In response to the invasion, Britain and France declared war on Nazi Germany on September 3, 1939. 2 weeks later, the Soviets invaded Eastern Poland. In April 1940, Nazi Germany conquered the Scandinavian countries of Denmark and Norway. The following months, Nazi Germany conquered Luxembourg, the Netherlands, Belgium, and France. In July of 1940, the Luftwaffe, Nazi Germany's Air Force, attacked Great Britain. However, the Royal Air Force managed to use aerial superiority to their advantage. Ultimately a failure for the Nazis, they decided to strategically bomb major population centers in what became known as the Blitz. However, it resulted in operational failure. On June 22, 1941, Hitler violated a non-violent aggression pact with the Soviet Union and invaded it, sending 3 million Wehrmacht troops. The Wehrmacht invaded a large area before the invasion was halted at the Battle of Moscow in December 1941. On December 7, 1941, Pearl Harbor was attacked by the Japanese. A week later, Hitler declared war on the United States. During the middle of the war, Germany suffered humiliating defeats at the Battle of Stalingrad and the Battle of Kursk, as well as their failed attempt to seize the Suez Canal. Meanwhile, Hitler's military decisions became increasingly unpredictable. Germany's armed forces and the economy declined, as well as Hitler's health. On June 6, 1944, the invasion of Normandy was a success for the Allies. Throughout the second half of 1944 and continuing into 1945, the Allies were homing in on Nazi Germany. Hitler had no choice but to launch a last-ditch counterattack, the Battle of the Bulge. However, it was a disaster because the battle severely depleted the armed forces, which allowed the Allies to cross through the Siegfried Line and into the German interior. It was now imminent that the Nazis were losing the war. On April 20th, 1945, Hitler's 56th birthday, he took refuge in the Fuehrer Bunker as the Battle of Berlin raged around him. On April 29, 1945, Hitler married his girlfriend, Eva Braun, inside the bunker. The following day, Hitler and Braun committed suicide. On May 2nd, 1945, Berlin surrendered to Soviet forces. 6 days later, Nazi Germany surrendered to the Allies, ending World War II in Europe. But the aftermath of the war lingered on for quite some time. During World War II, the Nazis exterminated 6 million Jews and millions of others deemed undesirable, in what became known as the Holocaust. Holocaust victims were deported to concentration camps where they were killed in gas chambers. Other ethnic groups that were persecuted are Romani, Soviet POWs, Slavs, homosexuals, Jehovah's Witnesses, and the disabled. In total, between 11 million and 14 million undesirables were killed during the Holocaust. Hitler left a trail of devastation throughout Europe. His notorious actions resulted in the deaths of an estimated 40 million people. Nazi Germany's defeat brought an end to fascism. It would only be a few years before a new ideology takes the center stage: communism.